the question?
Can you hear me, Lekon?
Yes, yes.
Total wondering how compressed loan work actually.
How what?
Compressed loan.
Geng tak dapat join ni, Cik.
Yeah.
Okay, tak.
The compressed loan, how they work actually.
What do you mean compressed loan?
Like because there's a news on year before about 2018 or 2017. There's a things called compressed loan where the home buyer submit different loan application mortgage at the same time to different financial institution. So I'm wondering how that actually works.
I never heard this term in real estate finance, compressed loan. So I don't know how to answer because I really don't know.
Oh.
But if you submit your application to different banks, it's okay. So itu. And then all of the banks can also offer you a loan, and then you have to make a decision which one do you prefer.
But okay, so I maybe I explain in I try to recall what I know based on the news because like usually when we apply for mortgage loan for the housing, right? So definitely the first housing will get different of margin of loan. Let's say first will be get 90%, and then up to third times will be 70%. So and then the compressed loan, according to news, it say like the person try to apply or try to buy different units of housing at the same time, and then try to maximize their margin of loan of 90%. Maybe they buy more than 5. Actually, if they're up to 5, the margin loan only maybe up to 60% something, and then maybe their performance of the salary also cannot sustain that much of installment. So this is the compressed loan, like meaning like that they compress like the loan into one submission, and then they skip through the Bank Negara, the secret test there.
Oh, so basically for the first unit, usually the DSR is 90%. Okay. The second unit is about 80%. That means DSR is 80%. The third unit is about 70%. So that means we have to pay 30% down payment. But when it comes to the first unit, for example, the house that we purchased 10 years ago, so the price of the when we purchased was let's say 500,000, but now already 10 years. So at that time we paid 10% down payment because that was the first house. So 10% we pay. So but now the value of the property, let's say from 500, after 10 years it become 1 million already. So that means the balance, if we assume that we are selling the unit now, so the price is 1 million, and then the outstanding principal that we still have after 10 years, maybe 300,000, because we purchased at 500,000. So for the last 10 years, we already paid the capital, let's say 200,000. So that means the balance we still have to pay to the financial institution is about 300,000. So basically, if we assume that we sell now for 1 million, so the surplus is there. The surplus is about 700,000. So that 700,000 can actually be used to compensate our next loan. Our next loan, provided that we apply from the same financial institution, so it can offset the second loan or the third loan that we are going to apply, because the second loan supposed to be 80%, the third unit supposed to be 80%. So basically, all the deposit that we are supposed to pay 20%, 30% can actually be compressed, provided that we are the good home buyers. So in other words, when we want to apply for the second loan, because we already have surplus there, so it can be considered to be 90% as well. So I'm not sure whether we call this compressed, because I never heard of compressed loan before, you know. But something like that will normally happen. I think it refers to what you are asking.
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks.
Okay. I'm not sure the term that we use for that kind of situation. You may be right when you say compressed loan, but I'm not sure. That's why I cannot confirm. But the situation is like that. It's okay. We can reduce the down payment for the third unit as well. Instead of 70%, we can also pay only 10%. But now, under the COVID-19 situation, we can even get 100% even for the second unit or third unit. No need compressed loan like that. Because in order to activate the market and then to get rid of the overhang units that we are having now, so basically the Bank Negara Malaysia come out with new rules or instruction that everyone can actually get 100% loan. So if you have money, you can actually purchase now. Okay?
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
One more question. Any other question?
Doctor, I don't really understand the depreciation provision. Why depreciation provision is considered as long-term finance?
So depreciation provision is basically the amounts of the tax, the amounts of the profit that we are supposed to put aside based on the value of the property. For example, our property, the one that we are using, especially manufacturing, factory, for example. So basically, let's say we purchased 5 years ago. So that means like you as a valuer, you know that when you use the cost method, for example, you need to establish the depreciation allowance. So basically that depreciation allowance is the same for depreciation provision. So that means we assume that the the depreciation allowance that we have to put aside. So basically out of the profit that we have, we can take that part. So that part can actually be used for our future investment, the company's future investment. So because we don't have to pay back, this is our money, the company's money. Therefore, it can be considered as long-term finance as well as short-term finance as well. So long-term finance because we don't have to pay. But compared to, the for 1 year, we are supposed to pay this year, but we can keep up to next year. That one can definitely short term. But depreciation allowance is basically for long term finance. Okay, Mia?
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Understood.
Okay. So I noticed that Melissa also want to ask question. Any question, Melissa? Melissa? Because I saw your mic, you unmute your mic just now. Any question from you?
Oh, I was just about to ask on the huge quantity required because I missed that part when doctor was explaining under long-term finance, long-term financing.
Which part I also cannot recall. Huge what?
Huge quantities required.
Can you give me the full sentence?
Why do firms need long-term financing for modernization, expansion, diversification? Huge quantities required, irreversible decision.
Oh, huge quantities required in that sentence referred to that are needed in order to expand the business. When we start with very small companies like Top Glove, for example, they used to start with very small factory, but now they have so many factories. And the same thing for real estate. They also have bulks of real estate under for their investment. So basically, huge amounts are needed in order to expand their business from small to big. That's what it means. Okay, Melissa?
Doctor, I missed now. What did you say? Because you like the sekat just now, like sangkut your sentence.
Okay, huge amount of money are needed to cut short. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's what I mean. I already explained.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go to our, because now it's 2:30 already, so we go to our, so I'm not sure which tutorial we are supposed to have.
Week 9 and week 10.
Week
9 and 10.
Week 10 and 11.
No. 9 and 10.
9 and 10. So now we go
Yes.
to week 9 first. I forgot to record from the beginning, so let me record first.
Hello, doctor. Sorry for interrupt. Because actually last time the tutorial carry until the week 8 part A question only, but the part B for the MRTA and MLTA haven't discussed one.
I think I have briefly explained, because the time taken by you is too long for one question, and then the second question we couldn't finish, but I briefly already explained to you what you are supposed to have for that question.
Okay.
You cannot go into finish the first question, week 9, and do not assume that week 10 I will bring to the following week, okay? That's why I asked you to prepare first.
Okay.
So now we go to week 9. Week 9 is about the calculation, right?
Yes.
So can someone answer the question, please? This one is straightforward. If your answer is correct, so that means the question we will discuss through the answer that you are going to give. So a total sum of 100,000 was approved under the CPM for 25 years. Calculate the total annual repayment on interest rate and capital. Calculate the total interest rate for the first year and 10 years. Calculate the amount of capital that must be paid for the first and 10th year. This one is very straightforward. And then I'll try to put more questions if your answer is correct, in order for you to understand why do we need to do this. Can someone answer the question, please? Can everyone show your face, please? This is tutorial.
Doctor, are you sharing any screen?
No, I expect.
Okay. Just wondering. Just wondering only.
You are supposed to share the screen. On face.
Doctor, actually, some of us realized that, doctor, just now the question you read is different from the tutorial question given at the back of the lecture.
Yes. Yes, you should have it at the end of the lecture.
Maybe I asked them to share the screen so that you can know the difference, because just now what you read, the question is quite different compared to what we are doing now.
Is it?
Yeah, I think doctor talked about the first slide.
The tutorial question I think is at the last slide.
You say week 9 lectures?
Week 9 tutorial. Yeah, because week 9 lecture, the first page also is question, but that one is tutorial. That one is lecture. We already discussed during the lecture.
Oh, we already discussed that one.
9 tutorial haven't.
Huh?
The tutorial haven't.
At the last page of the lecture.
At the last page of the lecture slide.
Yeah, not the first page.
Hang on. Let me see. I'll share the slide now to make sure that we are using the correct question. How to share? Okay, found already. Is this the one, Mr. A?
Yes, this one.
Yes.
This one, okay. Okay, we start with this tutorial. So the one that I mentioned just now is under which week?
It's under the same week, but it's the lecture part, not the tutorial.
Oh, the lecture part. Okay. So we start with this, okay? Can someone answer? I asked you to show your face. I haven't seen anyone's face yet.
We already show our face. Thing is, doctor got internet connection problem.
Oh, how come it become like this?
You cannot pin your face. You shouldn't pin your presentation slide.
So how to get rid of it?
At the right top bottom, right top corner. And then you see the presentation screen. There's a pin there. You should get rid of it. You should get rid of it. Click again.
You click a presentation screen.
That one, no. Now you are pinning your head already, which means the slide inside your window only going to show your face instead of everyone's face. And then, by the way, because you are sharing right now, so you can't actually see other people's face. You have
You must sharing first. Stop sharing first.
You must stop presenting first.
Okay, stop presenting first.
Yeah. So
Okay.
can people see us now?
Now I still cannot see everyone's face here.
Toto, you are seeing yourself.
Sorry?
What you are looking at right now? Which person head?
Only myself.
Only myself. Oh, then that means that you are pinning your on camera already.
Okay.
And then you
Okay,
move
now.
your cursor to the right top button. At the
Okay, I can see now.
so everyone is showing actually.
I can see League One only. I can see.
Everyone is already opening their
now I can see MK.
Doctor, actually, Google Meets, there has one feature which means it only highlight the person shows when during the meetings. So even though like other people also maybe opening their camera, sometimes the Google Meet will highlight the one speaking right now.
Yeah, I do not expect everyone's face, but at least the majorities are here.
Yeah, actually there are 12 of us are showing our face.
But only yourself so far. Just now MK.
Doctor, can you see my face now?
Saya ada sini,
No.
Doktor.
Now I can see Minjau.
I think we need to speak.
Now.
Only can show the face.
Now,
But
now
actually, on our computer, all of the face, we can see others' face actually.
now I can see most of you, not all, but at least I can see a few of you, so it's fine. Okay, so I'm not sure whether the rest they take advantage of trying to not to show their face because they know the problem, or maybe they also on the camera but I cannot see. I don't know. So okay, who want to start to share the screen? Oh, MK, is that your pillow, long pillow, the one that you
Oh no, my blanket a little bit cold here.
blanket. Okay. So, who's going to answer?
Doctor, I can try.
But every week the same person. I don't understand what happened to the rest.
Or others want to try?
Hang on, let me call the name. Let me call the name. I'm closing my eyes now to find who's the best person. Luna, I want you to answer this question. Luna. Luna,
Hi, Doctor.
can you share the screen, your answer to everyone?
Actually, this question is very hard for me.
I told everyone already there is no right or wrong. As long as you try, even if it is wrong, for me it's fine. I'll be more happy to see the wrong question as compared to those who never done the question. Wrong question, that means you try already. So I'm happy with it to help to make it correct. But if you do not try, do not prepare, then I'm a bit frustrated.
Maybe next time I can try. But for this question, I don't
We don't have
really.
much time left. Now we are in week 12 already. Hafizuddin?
Ya, Doktor. Ya.
Share with us your answer.
Sekejap je. Ini dah tu.
Okay.
Ini dah tu. Dengar tak?
You make it bigger.
Boleh, Tin. Kita boleh tengok.
Boleh kan?
Boleh. Tapi besarkan sikit. Okay.
Okey.
So let me check with the question again. So number one, how come you answer like that? Because number one, show and explain. Show and explain. Do you understand that? Show and explain.
Sorry, Doktor.
Show and explain the annual loan repayment patterns for CPM, and then show and explain the annual loan repayment pattern for MM, and then by comparing CPM and MM, explain the rationale for such large differences, and then what happened if you intend to sell the house at the end of year 6. So what is your justification? That is the question. But if you do like this, you cannot see, you cannot answer the question. You cannot, answer the question. Calculate the total annual repayment of interest rate and capital. This is the one that the first tutorial, wrong tutorial question just now.
Ya ke, Doktor?
So, that one,
Betul salah.
huh?
Oh, bukan tutorial ni ya, Doktor.
You're definitely wrong if you answer this way.
Oh, salah.
You'll get 0. 0/50 if you answer this way. You do not answer the question.
Salah tiga ya, Doktor.
In the final exam, if you do like this, that means you'll get 0. Afiq, I want to see your answer. Afiq,
Kejap Doktor, saya cari ya.
want to see your answer. MK ah? MK,
Yes, boss.
why so handsome today?
I always so handsome.
Got perfume or not? I can smell perfume now.
No, actually, Actually, I just got off from kitchen. I have cooking just now. I expect a bowl of minyak.
Afiq, where's your answer?
Encik Doktor tengah loading lambat pula.
Apa yang lambatnya? Mana ada hujan kat Penang sekarang? Kat Pahang sungguhlah. Pahang, Terengganu, Kelantan.
Saya nak bagi saya buka sekejap.
I was in Pahang on Sunday to send my kids to college. So I got stranded in Temerloh there because of the flood. Very bad over there. But Penang, no excuse. Bukit Mertajam lagi lah, no excuse.
Saya dekat KL Doktor.
Oh, kat KL. Kat KL, supposed to be fast what?
Oh ni. Saya nak pergi access saya ni.
If you expect to learn like in the class, I'm sure you don't want me to hear me, to give critical comments anymore. You don't like, I'm sure. But if you do like this all the way, then I'm sure that you cannot do in the final exam. That's why I always ask you to try. Even if you are wrong, then I'll try to correct it. You will learn from that stage. Hang
Ada siapa
tipu,
tahu ada dapat access tak boleh buka.
hang tipu dah ni, hang
Allah,
buat
saya
cari.
screen ya Allah. Saya cakap doktor semua tak percaya.
Memanglah
Ya Allah.
saya lama sangat.
Ni saya buka, saya share.
Aku yang problem ni pun boleh settle lah.
Tak ni access dia jadi kosong ni doktor ni.
Dah
saya
belum
share.
yang kosong punya.
Ya Allah. Saya share ni window.
Window tak boleh.
I dah nampak tadi.
Dekat Umi lah.
Macam mana?
Umi buat apa?
Ni masak.
Tak apa, letak semua. Boleh.
Saya buka balik
Dah
tu. Saya
tidur
buka
je
balik ni.
mentang-mentang banjir. You answer, Ikhwan. Share the screen now.
Sekejap
Nanti tak boleh habis lagi first part. Lepas tu you all nak carry forward. Tak nak carry forward. Namun tak cukup masa ni. Dah makan tom yum belum? Ikhwan, hari ni.
Hari ni makan nasi ayam hijab.
Nasi ayam memakan, bukan ayam kan makan. Cepat share.
Kejap. Malicious.
Afiq. Kau tak tahu ada marah kat saya. Hang tipu lagi jaga. Tak dengar apa. Hey, apa lama sangat?
Nampak tak? Saya dah share screen.
Tak nampak apa.
Nampak apa?
Okay, it's coming. Okay, it's coming.
Okay.
Okay, besarkan.
Nampak tak?
Okay, nampak. Explain question 1 first.
Oh, explain. So, basically, for the first one is the CPM, right? So the CPM, the annual payment will be constant throughout the year of loan, which is 15 years. And yeah, but at the end of the 15 years, the loan amortized will be
Mana dia punya ni figure asal before you create the table like this. Okay. So explain from the top.
okay. The house price is 200,000, and then it already paid the down payment, which is 10%. So the loan amount is tinggal lagi 180,000. So the interest rate used is 5.5, and the annuity of RM1, we use the formula here, we accumulate 9.96% every year throughout the loan payment.
Why you use 5.5%?
5.5% because from the question, yeah, 5.5 because we add the incentive here, BR.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
So ni je lah, dapatlah 15 tahun tu dia bayar setiap tahun around 18,000 every year annual payment. That is for constant payment mortgage.
Itu je jawapan dia. The question, what did the question say?
The question say is show and explain the annual loan repayment. Memang tak tahu nak explain macam mana. Yeah, so I show the table lah. I should buat table ni and
No, this is the pattern already. You just need to explain based on the patterns you have given here. The table is the pattern already. You need to explain. And in fact, you can plot, you can plot using Excel, you plot the diagram to show in terms of the loan amortization as compared to the interest payment and then compared to the outstanding principal. You can do like that if you want to, but I do not expect you to do that. But this one is good enough for you to explain for this kind of question. So now the pattern is there. What you need to do is to explain. So explain to the class. You are now the lecturer.
Okay. So for the interest payment, which is 9.96 here, it's basically the interest payment which is 9.96 of the outstanding principal of that year. For example, for the first year, the outstanding principal is 180,000, and the interest will be 9.96. We accumulate the interest payment of 9,100. This is the only the interest payment, but plus the loan amortization will be total up as the annual payment of that year. So the interest payment will be decreasing over the year because the outstanding principal here is decreasing. But the loan amortization every year will be increasing because of the loan payment itself. To get this annual payment of the constant payment of that mortgage. So in this case, when the annual payment is constant and the interest payment is decreasing every year, so the loan amortization will be increased year by year to get the constant of the payment at the annual lah. Annual tu ada akan jadi constant. So at the end of the year of the loan period, the loan amortization will be the same as the total loan at the initial. But plus the interest payment will be accumulated at the final of the loan will be 268, which is higher lah. The plus interest kan dia jadi tinggi daripada pinjaman tu. Faham tak?
And then what's your conclusion?
Conclusion constant payment mortgage ni dia memang dia plus interest, so basically kita bayar tu semua tu akan jadi tinggi lah amount dia.
Semua loan plus
Sebab ada
interest.
interest kan.
Semua loan plus interest.
Itulah nak cakapnya. Memang ada interest lah.
So how do you want to conclude?
How nak conclude? I pun tak tahu macam mana nak conclude. Nak cakapnya yang kalau doktor nak conclude macam mana?
Saya tak tahulah, saya belajar dari you. You lecturer.
Okay, saya tak tahu nak conclude macam mana. So saya sampai sini je lah nak cakap. Dia apa ni, nak cakap pasal dia punya loan payment ni ada interest, ada.
You call someone to conclude.
Susan, can you conclude for me?
Susan, quickly.
The conclusion. Wait, Doctor, I open my Excel first.
No, we use this. We use this as a guide. Okay, if everyone, that's why I asked you who want to come up first just now, because once we have a concern, then based on that, so we discuss. If everyone want to show your answer, then we'll have different view after that. So this one is correct because I can confirm that in terms of outstanding principal and loan amortization, so basically the final figure assure me that is correct. So conclude, if you are doing the correct one, you should have this answer as well. Ikuan.
Yeah, so
Garang sikit.
Tak boleh.
Garang sikit dekat Susan, percepat.
Nice, okay Susan, take your time. Tak ada marah-marah weh.
itu garang ke? Okay, so Susan. Takes your time, but after that when we reach 4 o'clock, then we cannot go to the next one, then we finish.
To conclude, at the end, the Islamic finance will pay less than the.
No. We are talking about CPM. Why you go to Islamic finance? We haven't discussed.
The CPM at the end will need to pay more compared to the Islamic finance because in the beginning CPM.
Why are you comparing Islamic finance? Discuss Islamic finance yet?
Doctor, you want me to conclude the whole CPM, is it?
Yes.
Okay,
PM now.
Maybe I should explain the the Islamic first, so we can conclude both.
No, I'm asking you the CPM now. Conclude the CPM.
Okay, so the CPM, the annual payment is the same, but this annual payment will be separated into loan amortization and interest payment. But in the beginning, the loan amortization is very low, and then so the interest payment will be high because the interest payment is based on the outstanding principal. And then throughout the whole mortgage period, the interest payment will decrease together with the loan amortization because the outstanding principal is decreasing over time, and then the interest payment charged on the outstanding principal will be decreased too. And then if we draw a graph, we can see that the annual payment will be constant. It will be a straight horizontal line throughout the whole mortgage period. And then the interest payment line will like drop slightly curved, but it will drop across the period, whereas the loan amortization will increase over time. And then
Is that the explanation? Is that the explanation or the conclusion?
This one is explanation.
I asked you the conclusion. Explanation, Ikhwan was supposed to explain just now. To conclude, you just need 2-3 lines.
So at the end of the mortgage term, the customer will repay the whole sum of the loan amount of 180,000. and together with another sum of interest amount of 88,000, nearly 89,000. And then the total annual payment will be 267,000.
How many lines? Susan, how many lines?
How many lines? Doctor, you mean from the beginning or-
Conclusion. How many lines? You conclude just now.
Just now I got 3 lines.
Should be 2 or 3 lines, but I talk too much already, doctor. Because I explained from the beginning.
Okay lah. But you just need 1 or 2 lines, okay, to conclude. But one thing you forgot to mention here is two words that combine have one meaning.
Have what meaning?
What's
Doctor? Sorry.
2 words,
Ah.
but give one meaning. The keywords for this explanation, when you conclude, I just want to hear this word, but basically it has the same meaning. For example, red shirt. So that means the shirt. Okay, the shirt is red. If you say the shirt only, so you do not come with the conclusion, but you say red shirt in order to conclude. So the same for this. What is the word? 2 words, but represent only one meaning.
Constant payment, is it?
No.
Fixed rate mortgage.
Other the class can help. Ikwan, you're the lecturer.
Tak tahu. Saya pun tak tahu apa tu words tu.
Others?
Fully amortized.
No. The interest payment is based on that word.
Outstanding principal.
Correct, outstanding principal. But there is a concept behind outstanding principal. What is that?
Loan amount.
No.
Loan amortization.
No.
Interest payment.
The rest of the class, come on, please help. You don't help, you don't understand. I'm okay. You give me wrong answer, I'm fine. But I want you to speak up.
Oh, yang ini. Aduh. Lost pula.
Salah.
Malah dia.
Kacau lah ini kan.
WhatsApp aku buka tak buka doh. Aku macam mental lagi. Semua benda nak
Aku
lag.
dah mental gila lah dengan Alia. Siapa jadi dalam ni? Aku dengan Alia memang dah mental lah.
Sekejap. Kita kena...
Hello? Hello?
Itu Nazmi.
Kau yang asik ke?
Oh, Ijat pun ada. Itu gang-gang kena decline ni.
Ya. Mungkin. Kena reject.
Kau tengok WhatsApp aku tak buka tak tahu apa hal.
Aku masuk tepat pukul 2.15 tau. Tepat.
Kau terlambat seminit. 10.
Ya. Aku try kali kedua 2.16 dah.
Astaghfirullahalazim, WhatsApp web saya kenapa?
Tapi aku masuk jadi stres.
Aku tak tahu kenapa tiba-tiba tak ada internetnya. Elok aja korang dengan aku.
Ain'ni kau alasan tipu
Ya Allah, betul.
Oh,
Kesian dia. Kesian dia Afiq. Sumpah kesian.
Asal
Aku pula geram.
Afiq, doktor
Sebab
kenapa?
sebab dia kena dengan dua-dua doktor tau. Doktor Anwar pun dia dah kena kan.
Doktor Rosli kata apa tadi kat Afiq?
Jangan tipu. Jangan tipu lah apa, lambat lah apa, macam-macam lah. Nampak lah Afiq Fras.
Nak
Tengok
macam
lah recording balik.
Kenapalah aku belajar dekat Malaysia ni kena respect lecturer tu umpama Tuhan. Kalau kat luar negara dah lama boleh saman lecturer siap.
Mek lah, bapak aku polis kan.
Kita kan
Bapak kau polis. Bukan
saman trafik wak.
kau tahu tak kau cakap ni dia record dekat sini.
Biarlah, kita share kat siapa je. Jangan kita nak post kat YouTube. Jangan leak sudah kau. Pandai lah kau.
Aku post kat YouTube, kalau lecturer dapat aku tak tahu lah.
Alah tak payah ini. Aduh kau ni.
Alah post je lah bukan siapa yang tengok kan.
Tak harap kita lecturer tak nampak lah. Bongok cepatlah tutup.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, boleh join.
Boleh, dia once dah masuk, boleh masuk.
Oh.
Tapi itulah, lag nak mampus. Okay, sekarang apa jadi? Oh, Iko masih...
Okay, what is the two word now? Bloody heck.
I don't know.
Still trying to get in.
Still trying to get in.
Ain'ni aduh.
Want to say, give me about
to get in
2 or 3 lines, and the rest explanation Minjau, Suzanne explained just now is correct, but I asked you the reducing balance. So in terms of explanation is okay. So that means you are supporting Ikhwan explanation just now. Ikhwan explanation is very weak. Okay. So any question on this part?
No.
No. Okay, then we go to the second question.
Okay, the second one is the Mekasah apa tah? Masyarakat Tanah Kisah.
Mekasah. Ni seorang lagi. Nasib baik duduk jauh. Kalau dekat, sudah kena tiaw lah ni.
Okay, dia okay, basically dia cara tanah kisah sama je kita guna the same case which is the house price is 200,000 and the loan amount is 180 because of the payment of down payment which is 10%.
Why you put interest rate there? 5.5%? Why for the Islamic finance you put interest rate 5.5%?
5.5 because the soalan dia tanya 55. Sekejap. 5. Kenapa tak 5?
5. So do you mention interest rate there?
No, but it's basically base financing rate.
Okay, either base financing rate or the other word you can use. What is that?
Profit.
Yes, profit rate.
Profit. Tukar.
So total is 6%.
Why 6%?
I assume it's 5% plus another incentive of 1%.
Kamu cari gaduh sama saya ke KMK?
Jangan macam ni lah, tanya aja. I'm a soft person, doctor.
Why 6%? Why you say 6%?
Okay, for my understanding, for me, because that incentive rate is offered by bank, because you got your base rate the base rate is considered on the best lending rate lah. Okay, then another incentive is different bank different offering. This is my understanding.
Yeah, unless if the question asks you or give you that figure. But now if you look at the question, how do you derive to 6%?
5 plus 1.
Why plus 1?
Because there is an incentive rate of 1.
That is your base rate.
Okay, faham. Yes, the one is the base.
Unless if you see additional incentive for BFR, then that's different issue. But now for BFR, no incentive. Okay?
Okay.
Lagi mau lawan nggak?
No.
Okay, saya sambung So bicara tentang kisah at the initial period tu kan, the customer ownership is 10% because of the down payment. Down payment kan bayar 10%. So customer tu dah dapat ownership 10%.
Start lah from the top first.
Dah start tadi kan? Yeah, mortgage term 15, so the profit rate 5.5 and the annuity will be 9.96.
I asked you just now, why 5.5?
Oh, why
5% aja bro.
Only 5%, right?
5%.
5% aja. Tukar tak?
Tak apa, try dulu jadi ke tak. Okay, so yeah, 5%, only 5% for the profit rate. And then, so basically, there will be the yearly rent, which is the profit, and the redemption, which is the like loan amortization, like apa ni, pembayaran for the home lah, for the house tu. So yearly redemption plus the profit will get the total payment annually, which is 17,300 something. And then the apa yang cakap tadi? Oh yeah, the customer equity will be increased because of the payment of the loan, and the bank equity will be decreased. Bank equity basically at first they use the bank's money to finance the house, and then every year it will decreasing because of the owner of that house repay the mortgage. So yeah, we can see the bank cash flow is increasing. They get back to its initial loan, which is 180,000. So throughout the payment period, mortgage period, it will accumulate the yearly redemption of the initial loan, which is 180,000 here, and plus the yearly profit. Profit basically 80,000. So the total payment throughout the payment period is 260,000. Yeah. So the customer ownership here is increasing until 100%, which means 100% is the house is totally become the ownership to the owner lah, macam tu. So yeah, nak cakapnya there is difference between the MM and CPM. We can see here the annual payment at the final year for the CPM is 269 lah, to be approximately. But for
hang on. Wait. That is question 3 already, okay? By comparing CPN and MM. That's question 3. Now we are still under question 2.
Okay, question.
That means, so I can see that the answer is also correct after you change 5%. That means the formula you put are also correct, because we have outstanding principal and yearly redemptions. You got the same figures towards the end of the calculation. So basically, I can assume that is correct. But now, for the class, anything to ask Ikhwan or anything to comment on this, whether you agree or disagree?
Ikhwan, can you explain a bit about the customer's equity starting from the year 1?
Okay. For customer equity, basically the owner is like the equity of the customer, the owner of that house who made a loan with the bank. So customer equity at first, at the initial year, the customer pay the 10%, right? 10% of the down payment, which is 20,000 lah from the 200,000. So 20% is at the initial year, it is 20,000. Basically, this is the value of the equity of for the owner throughout the 15 tahun ni. Basically, it is increasing because of the constant payment by the owner. So dia bayar, and then the owner, the rumah tu akan slow akan dapat fully to the owner lah. Dia vice versa to bank equity. Bank equity at first, they can finance the home kan. So the initial for the bank's equity is higher than the customer, but the bank's equity basically akan berkurang throughout the 15th year because of the customer to pay to the bank of the loan. Yeah, it is same concept with the customer's ownership. So at the end it will 100%, and the customer equity at the end is 200. Back to the house price to 200,000. Okay, faham ke tak?
Okay, understand.
Okay, good. Any other question?
Doctor, I have one more question.
Ask Iqbal.
Iqbal, the rental division, can you expand on the customer and bank?
Rental division ni tak faham sebenarnya. Basically is the rental of the rental division is like the profit lah, the profit of the profit payment by the owner to the bank. So it's like the macam kalau dalam CPM kan dia ada macam interest payment and loan amortization, right? But in MM we got the rental division, which is the profit itself. So for the customer, the profit for the profit is basically the payment of the profit throughout the year is constant, but it will times by the customer's ownership throughout the year. So if the your profit is constant every year and customer ownership is increasing every year, basically the rental division paid to the bank, the rental division of this mortgage is increasing for the customer. However, for the bank, basically it is decreasing lah, because the banks basically lose the equity to the home. So yeah, back to zero. Basically at the end of the finance is no more rental division for bank lah. So I think that will do. Okay.
Okay, Susan.
Actually, I don't quite understand the customer. Under the customer, the figure is the division customer should pay, or the rental division that customer should get. Under the customer and bank, there are two columns, right? Actually, I don't understand the customer. Under the customer, what does the figures indicate?
Iqbal.
Yo, nak cakap macam mana kalau sebenarnya ikut daripada table ni sebenarnya, table MM tu, so mana so yeah, dia mungkin
Sorry to interrupt. So the bank division is the remaining percentage of customer ownership, right? Because I did my calculation, I think for the fair is 4 and then gradually decreasing until 0, and then 100 untuk year 15. So is it the remaining of customer ownership, Doctor?
Ask Iqbal.
Iqbal. Sorry, tanya je.
So, the rental division ni dia nak cakap pasal the yearly rent sebenarnya, the profit payment tu. So the profit payment here at the end of the loan period is 80, right? 80,000, right? So dah tahu cakap macam mana, tapi the total ni memang 80 lah. Total the customer rental division and bank rental division. Sejujurnya, to be honest, I pun tak faham sebenarnya pasal rental division ni, tapi I follow the table from the lecture. Yeah, so we get this lah. Doctor, can you help me about this?
I pun tak faham because you are presenting your lecture, you know. So I'm learning from you.
Oh my god.
Okay, to cut short, rental division. So it's basically based on the customer ownership here. You can see that 10%, 16%, 12%. Can you see that? Yeah, that column.
Nampak.
So based on that, for the first year, the customer ownership is 16%. But the customer is paying the second column 5341.61. Can you go there?
Mana?
The yearly rent. Yes, that column. So you have 5341.61. So 16% of the ownership out of the yearly rent will belongs to the customer, and the balance will belong to the banks, which is 4486.95. That's the explanation. Okay?
Dah faham. Dah, okay.
Apa lah ikuan ni, buat sendiri tapi tak tahu.
I got another extra question. Okay, so since Doctor, you say that the rental division is for customer, then at the end we got 46,000 for customer, right? So is that the money that customer they can claim from bank because they already pay this figure for the rental?
Sorry, say again?
Okay, so for customer, right? Okay, rental division for customer, we see at the end they got 46,000.
Yes.
They got a sum of 46,000. So is this the money of customer, him or herself?
Of the customer what?
Okay, is this the money that the customer yang mereka sendiri punya ini, bank ini? Kerana okay, you see,
No, this amount is paid to the bank, not customer money. That means the bank's money.
Oh, I see.
Both the bank's money. Okay, but since we use the concept of rental, that means co-ownership for the property between the banks and the customer. They jointly own. So at the beginning, the customer do not. If you see behind the screen, okay. So the customer doesn't have anything from the beginning. Only the first payment 20,000. That's what the customer have. The 160,000 belongs to the bank. So now, because the customer is paying the yearly rent, that means the customer is renting that unit from the bank under the concept, yeah. The customer is renting, so the customer is paying 5341.61 per year to the bank. So when we want to assess how much that the customer is actually paying for the rent, so basically it is based on its ownership, which is 16%, and the same for the rest of the year. Until towards the end of year 15, the customer is actually own the property 100%, and then the customer will actually pay 100% of the yearly rent as well, which is 5341.61. So that means the banks doesn't have any rent to be paid to the bank anymore. Okay? So that's the concept. Okay, any other question on this before we go to question C? We must stop this question by 3:30, otherwise we cannot finish the second tutorial. Okay. No more question? Then we go to question 3. Now you compare Ikhwan. Gatal nak compare cepat-cepat. Belum habis nak compare. Sekarang boleh compare.
Okay, so nak compare-nya of the total annual payment at the end of the period tu for CPM is 269,000, but for the MM is 260. This basically the MM is lower, the total payment after the end of the period tu lower than the CPM tu. This is because in the involvement of interest rate for conventional, which is the CPM, but for the Islamic finance, Musyarakah Mutanakisah, is basically the profit itself. So from the profit rate is 5%, but for the interest rate of CPM is 5.5, which result to the increase higher amount of loan, the higher amount of payment for the CPM than the MM. Okay, faham? It's basically the same sebenarnya. Okay. The interest too.
Any question?
Any question tak?
To be asked, Ikhwan.
No question. Thank you. Kita ada.
So if there is no question, we go to question 4.
Alright.
What is the question 4 said?
Ada ke? Oh, ni dah start tahu. Kita sudah ada Diversification. Saya tak sempat bayang sebab tak tahu.
Just refer to the to CPM. Just refer to CPM. By right, you have to refer to both tables, CPM and MM. But because of the time constraint, so we just refer to CPM only. So how do you want to justify? How do you want? Let's say you want to sell a house in year 6. So what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to advise?
At year 6 tu, the payment is not yet settled. So at year 6, okay, let's say lah year 6 dia dah bayar kan, last kali dia bayar. So this is the remaining. At year 7, this is the remaining, the outstanding principal remaining lah, which is 124. So if you intend to sell the house, then you need to settle the principal lah. Tak tahu nak kat mana. Nak apa yang nak diberitahu. So like in my understanding, if you want to sell at the 6th year, so the outstanding principal need to be settled lah.
Got someone to help you?
Oh, so kau nak.
Okay, doctor, I got something to say.
Okay.
I think like this one, if your property price is at 200,000, at year 6 you sell it at, okay, example 300,000. So the 300,000, it will be taken out 124,670, 134,000 to make it to settle this outstanding principal, and you can have the other 300,000 minus 134,000 as your profit.
Is that the profit? The final profit that you have?
Yes.
Are you sure? Think about it. Okay, I can accept where the price of the property increased to 300,000. Okay, we use that as a figure. Okay, I agree with it. And in fact, you can 500,000, 400,000 will also be okay, unless if the question say that the price of the property in year 6 is 500,000, then you use that figure. Or if the question say that the price increase at about 3% per annum throughout the 15 years period, you use that 6%. Okay. So now, since you already said 300,000, so we use that as a base, 300,000. And then the outstanding principal that you still have in year 7 is 124,000, 134,000. So you said just now, 300 deduct 124,000, that is the profit. Right or not, MK?
Yeah, this is my statement.
Okay. I need comment from the class.
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay, actually, other than the, okay, just sambung what MK just now say, the actual profit, okay, the figure just now MK say, the 300,000 minus the outstanding principal on year 7, to me is actually the income only. So to calculate the profit, we have to deduct all the legal fees and RPGT fees, all the stamp duty and then the transaction fees lah. So to that, maybe I say there is a 20K. So if let's say it's a 20K, so the final value from the outstanding principal must be higher, so which means less income. And then other than that, if you take into consideration of the interest, then that's all from me lah. I'll add up to that.
How do you
sorry, doctor?
How do you want to get the interest?
Not the interest, but I said to sambung what MK just now, actually to get the net profit, we have to also take into consideration of the RPGT and all those transaction fee, like the legal fees or something like that.
Yes, correct. RPGT when come to year 7, you learn RPGT, right?
Actually, I didn't accept it because RPGT at year 7 already ada kan.
You learn from Dr. Zai, right? RPGT.
Yeah.
I do not teach you, but I know who teach you. Okay, from Dr. Zai, RPGT. So RPGT up to what year?
5 years.
5 years, correct. Under ordinary market circumstances. But now, COVID-19. Now for COVID-19, it's different thing because the government has actually revised the figure. For just for a short while. After that, I'm sure we'll go back to the 5 years. So under these circumstances, this situation, it is applicable or not, the RPGT?
Okay, actually I didn't accept it because RPGT cannot applicable in this case since it's already year 7. Another thing is he said that the legal fee or kind of transaction fee, that one is paid by the new buyer, not the owner. So I do insist on my statement which is 300K minus 124K.
The stamp duty?
Stamp duty also paid by the buyer.
But now you are selling. You are selling now. You have to pay RPGT or not? Do you have to pay?
No, because stamp duty also paid by the buyer because they are the one who are buying the property. So I'm the seller. No.
Yes, when we are buying. Okay, when we are buying, we want to create a mortgage contract. So the buyer is responsible. But under the actual situation, when you purchase this property at the price of 200,000, do you have to pay or not?
Yeah, down
from
payment
year 1.
Our stamp duty from the 200,000. Our stamp duty legal fee from the 200,000.
So do you consider it as a cost or not for this investment?
Yes. In this case, yes, we should.
Yes, so should include stamp duty, should include legal fees, should include the rest of the cost that we are supposed to pay. Okay, because we purchase in year 1, so that is the cost for us. Okay?
Okay, faham.
And then interest, can you explain how do you want to include interest here? Ridwan, do not look at your hair. Your hair is okay already, like Shah Rukh Khan hair.
Sorry, just now you mentioned about the interest is why actually because already the interest payment already take into hold on okay, because if we want to more in details the interest payment also should be taken into consideration as a cost, but if we think as other way around, there might not be a cost because they have buy the house and then they live in that house on their own, which means I might think of the interest payment is paid in terms of the rent so different people different story So maybe for simple explanation, if we want to include the interest payment, so we have to add up the interest payments buyer has met up to year number 6. So approximately about 42,000. Approximately about 42,000. So the 42,000 is a cost to the buyer as well. So actually, if we add up all the costs, just how we discussed the outstanding payment to be clear, and then after that we have to consider the fee we have taken out during our purchase at the moment we purchase, and then add up the interest payment we have paid throughout the 6 year. Then the profit remaining will be about 100,000 only.
Okay, any comment from Ikhwan? Ikhwan?
Huh? Apa dia?
Any comment from you? Ikhwan has answered your question and MK answered your question.
Oh yeah.
Any comment from you?
So
thank you je. Thank you je.
Ya lah, sebab saya tak faham sangat untuk soalan tu. So ya, thank you for the answer. Nak belanja, nanti saya pergi ke saya belanja.
Tak nak kasih dia orang, tak nak kasih kes ke dia orang. MK dengan Liguan. Tak nak kasih kes ke dekat Liguan MK? Ha?
Kes buat apa ya Allah.
Tak nak.
Okay.
Enak pun dapat belanja.
Any comment from you? Do you accept 100% of the answer?
Yeah, I accept 100% of the answer.
Okay, that's the answer, okay? That's the answer. Liguan answer, you talk about interest payment. That's the rate from year 1 to year 6. Otherwise, if you do not include that, you are not getting the true return of the investment. So that means you are not getting the correct figure when you transform it to percentage. So basically, you do not get the all the figures that we have paid at the beginnings of the mortgage to purchase this property must be included as well. If like in this case, we do not know the figures, so you can assume even the house price also you do not know the figures in year 7. So basically you can assume. Okay, so the answer is correct from my point of view. I accept all the answer for this question. Okay, everyone.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, now we go to question 2. Now we go to the next tutorial. Now tutorial. Want to answer this?
Doctor, can I try?
Can, but next week I don't want you to answer. I want someone else. Okay? You always answer. You, Cuisine, you always answer the question. League One also, you option. So next week I want to see someone else. Because now we don't have time, so Min Yao, since you have already prepared, so you can go ahead with your answer.
Doctor, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my framework. So first and foremost, I will define a bit about the REITs companies, and then the question is about discuss how REITs company be judged by potential investor in making their investment decision. So the second part, I will straight away go into the factors that the potential investor will take into consideration. And then I divided into four main points: the property types of the REITs company invested in, the location of the portfolio, the diversification of the portfolio, and the last one is the performance of the portfolio. And then since the question asked us to discuss, so I also list down the pros and cons to invest in REITs company. That's for my framework. Is it okay?
Okay, good. It's okay.
Then I proceed. Okay, so REITs company, I define REITs company first. REITs company is an entity that invests in real estate or real estate related asset via capital obtained from share issue. And the main thing that to become a REITs company is that the investment in real estate must be 75% out of the total investment, and they must distribute 90% of the income as dividend to the investors. Okay.
The share issue
obtained
the share issued here under obtained from the share issues. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you put like this, that means to refer to all shares.
Unit trust.
Unit.
Okay, REITs company do not produce
issue from the unit trust.
No. REIT. Yes, that is the. If you talk about ordinary public company that issue IPO, so you can put the share. But the REIT itself. That's why you put at the beginning REITs company. Okay. Yeah, you put REITs company. So this
Doctor,
issue REIT.
Okay. So Doctor, if we want to invest in REITs company, when we find in the Bursa, we will simply type REITs like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Just type REIT.
Okay.
But normally, this is not like ordinary shares. You can go to Bursa. But REITs, you have to go to a broker. You have to have a C account from the financial institution. From any bank, you have CD account. That means your investment account, not ordinary deposit account.
Okay, understood.
You must open CDC account in order for you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the potential investor first will analyze the types of real estate that the REITs company invested in. The types of property invested can be retail, office, hotel, or healthcare, education, residential, plantation. Okay, which anything that can generate income through leasing out to the tenant. And the rental collected will be the profit of the REITs company. Therefore, the potential investor need to take into consideration the types of property that the REITs company invested that they think will generate the highest returns. For example, some of the investor might think that they think education REITs, education types of real estate can generate higher income. Then they will invest in the REITs company that have invested in educational type of real estate. That's my point for here. And then other than that, the investor also will analyze the location of the property of the portfolio of the REITs company. Location is a very important factor as it will determine the ability of the invested property to generate income, since due to the nature of the property that is fixed and immovable. So like, for example, prominent location might be more preferred, as it has a higher possibility to generate steady income flow, but also subject to the types of property. Okay, this is for the location part. Okay, and then for the diversified can actually be separated into two, which is the types and geographical location. When we refer to the diversification of portfolio in terms of types, we are saying, like just now I mentioned, there are a few types. So when the potential investor, they want to mitigate the risk, efficiency, and prevent losses, they will choose a real REITs company with a portfolio that invested in different types. For example, maybe got invested in office, got invested in industrial, got invested in healthcare. So if anything happened to the market, for example, like now, where the retail has very low income, then other types of the property renter can help to mitigate the losses. And then other than that, there will also take into consideration about the diversification in location. For location is maybe either inside Malaysia or at a foreign country. If they invested, the company has a foreign real estate investment, it will provide an extra secure for the income stream, as if there is anything happen in the real estate market in Malaysia, for example, changing in policy causing the rental income to be reduced, then at least they still have other income to cover the losses. Okay. So the last one is the performance of the invested property. Okay, even the portfolio is diversified, but if the property is unable to attract tenants, it will have less income that can be generated. So as a result, the portfolio investor will analyze the occupancy rate of the portfolio, because most of the invested real estate by the REITs company are rented out. So they will analyze the occupancy rate and the ability of the properties in securing the tenants. If they can secure the tenants and have a high occupancy rate, which means that they have a steadier income flow. Therefore, they will have more profit for them, so they will invest it in. So moving next, I will discuss about the pros and cons to invest in REITs. So the pros to invest in REITs is that this is an alternative way for the investor to have a portion of ownership in the income generating properties, which usually are beyond the affordability of the public. For example, buying an office building. Normally, most of the public don't have the affordability to buy an office building, but invest in REITs make this to be possible. Besides, the income obtained from the dividend of the REITs company are accepted from income tax, as REITs company apply one level of taxation. So the income obtained, which is the dividend, the 90% of dividend that obtained from the REITs company, can be exempted for income tax, so no tax will be charged. Okay. Other than that, another pros is it's similar to the share issue by the corporation, like IPO. REITs, it's very flexible. Buying the transaction of REITs is very flexible to buy or to sell it. Then the cons of the REITs company, I only think of one, which is the share price is highly dependent on the performance on portfolio and the economy. If the performance of the portfolio, the economy actually will affect the performance of portfolio. If the performance of portfolio is very great, then the share price usually will higher. Then the potential investor not only can earn the dividend, but at the same time also gaining benefit from the intrinsic growing of intrinsic value of the REITs company. However, if any issue occur during that causing the downturn in the share price, it will deteriorate the performance of REITs company and causing the share price to drop. That's all for me.
Okay, any question from the class? Any question from the class?
Doctor, I have actually one question. Just wondering, because REITs is something very almost similar to share. So actually, we also can obtain profit from REITs, not just based on the dividend given out by the company, but also we can by selling, like maybe buy low, sell high. This concept also the same, right?
Mio, what's your answer?
My answer is yes.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Okay, compared to a public limited company or syarikat awam berhad, so this kind of company, they normally issue shares through IPOs. IPOs mean initial public offerings. And there are two types of public limited company. Number one, they offer shares plus dividend. Number two, they only offer shares, no dividend. That means they only offer the so-called gross share. So that means the performance of the share will actually depends on the company performance. But the other one, they also offer the gross share, but at the same time, they will also pay dividend. So that's for ordinary public limited company, syarikat awam berhad. But for REITs company, they only offer shares. So the performance of the shares in the market will actually give us the profit. Okay? So based on that, the REITs company, because they are very limited, but the best thing about it, this is the advantage, they can only keep 10% of the profit for their own use. And 90% will actually be given or declared as dividend to the shareholders. So this is the beauty of the REITs company. So you will get profit about 90%. The more profit the company made, the more dividend you will get by buying shares or buying REITs share or REIT stock, whatever you want to call it. But for the IPOs or the public limited companies, it depends on the board of directors decision. If they want to keep the profit of up to 50%, for example, and only 50% will actually be declared as dividend, that means you will have less dividend. But in terms of the gross share that you have, the more profit the company made, the higher the value the company. That means the share value will be high, so you will make more profit based on that. So that means the return that you'll get from the gross share will be good. But as compared to REITs company, it all depends on the performance of the company, because 90% is a lot to be given to the shareholders. That's why the REITs return is in the average of 6 to 7% per year. But for the for the public limited company, the shares we cannot come up with the average because it's all depend on the company. So if the company declared 50%, it doesn't mean that you get less return, because 50% will be declared as a dividend. So you get only 50% dividend. So it doesn't mean that the company is no good, but the company has future strategies where 50% the board of directors keep is for the purpose of expanding the business of the property. So the share that you have there in terms of value, intrinsic value, will actually give you much return. Can you see the difference? So
yes,
in other words, both are okay. Depends on your strategy, your market analysis. But the first thing is do not invest in a company that has potential, to go to liquidity in the future. So find the company that you think, the products of the company will actually be used all the time by the people. For example, now we are entering the 5G broadband, the 5G, what we call it, you used to have 4G, now 5G. If you see the companies that produce all the materials that related to 5Gs, of course, that company will have a huge potential in terms of growth. Then we better purchase the shares offered by that particular company. Or in other words, if you want to buy, the company that always produce the necessity goods, for example, Hap Seng, for example. So Hap Seng always come up with biscuit, for example, and cooking oil, for example. So definitely people keep buying. So the demand is there. The only thing is the company will only produce something that people will buy, but in terms of the growth, you have to look at the company itself, whether the company has diversified or the company has actually bought another plant for the purpose of expanding the business, etc. If they have, so basically this is a good company to be considered as well. Okay. Find the potential and then try to see the value of the share at the moment as compared to the intrinsic value. If the share that is being offered now drop because of COVID-19, so most of the company has less value, and then you have to compare to calculate the intrinsic value of the company. So based on that, so you should be able to identify, to purchase the share at lower cost, which is now is a good time. COVID-19 is a good time in the market, but not a good time for existing investors because they are trying to sell, because they are making loss now. They are trying to sell before they make more loss. So we take this opportunity now by looking at the intrinsic value and the existing share values. The lower the share value will be, for sure, the more profit you will make in the next 2 or 3 years. So kalau ada duit, just invest sekarang. Saya tak ada duit, saya cakap aja. You all ada duit, you can invest. This is a good time, basically. So that's my explanation. So based on that, can someone summarize what should we have? What should we have in terms of the point that we are supposed to put here? Can someone summarize? Just give me the point, because Minjau already explained in details, but I just want to see the point.
First
Number
one is diversification of the property portfolio as well as the geographical location.
Okay, diversification of property portfolio. That means we have to look at in terms of whether the company is stagnant or not. If the company is acquiring more asset, and then they also make improvement on the asset. So through diversification. So basically, this is a good company if we talk in terms of rich companies. That's one point. Number two, can you give me the point?
The occupancy rate, which is the performance.
Yes. So in terms of the performance or the occupancy, so basically we have to see whether the company has sufficient numbers and variety of tenants. If we rely on one particular tenant, so basically if anything goes wrong, that means the company will also be having difficulties in terms of finding a new tenant. So multi-tenancy property will actually be good. So now I want to hear from Shira. Give me 1 point.
They must look at the longer term tenancy.
So the same point just now. Give me a different point.
Sufficient number tu dah juga. Management must compose of competent and well-skilled professional.
Yes, good. We must see whether the management are competent or not. So if they are competent and well-skilled professional who have a background in real estate, for example, so basically they should be able to handle the business either to go up or down of the market. So now I want to hear one more. Lavinia, I want to hear 1 point from you. Based on what
the
Minyao
location
has
and
already
the
explained.
portfolios.
Yes, location must be in a strategic location. So because through strategic location, it will be able to aid in terms of improvement of the sales as well as the rent to the property. And I want to hear one more different answer from now. What time is it? 4 o'clock already. You have something, right? Just quickly give me. Anyone can give me one more point. Anyone?
Property type.
Sorry?
Property type.
That is under diversification.
Tapi diversification bukan macam bawa satu risk, dia macam composed of different mah. Tapi mungkin kadang-kadang one people have different, one risk have only certain property type only, but then the diversification might be only for certain risk only.
Yes.
To me lah.
Yes, correct. That's the answer under diversification.
Oh, okay.
One more, please, before we stop.
Continuity to acquire assets.
We already talked about it. Tidur kah?
The assets is content.
One more. You haven't mentioned. I want to hear.
Can we say the growth will be slow because only 10% will be reinvest normally lah for the profit?
What, the growth is normally slow?
Like for the expansion for the REITs company, well, that normally slower because only 10% of the profit.
You are out of the question. You are out of the question. We try to summarize. Okay. The one under discussion, under the cons just now. Want to give one more point.
To me, another concern, another factor to be considered is the entry requirement to obtain the REITs.
No.
The price lah.
No, that's not the thing that we normally consider. One more.
Dividend must always increasing.
Yes, from year to year, that means you can use as a guide. Okay, if the dividend fluctuate, not a good company, or if the dividend is decreasing, is also not a good company. But if you check from year to year dividend, it keep increasing, then that company can be considered. So I think that all the summary that we should establish under Minyao analysis or explanation just now. Okay, so next week we'll have a test. I'm not sure whether we want to use the tutorial slot because we still have now tutorial up to week 10. So that means we still have 4 tutorials to go, but next week already week 13. So if we take the slot, week 13 slot for the test, that means we cannot finish the tutorial unless if you choose the tutorial that is best to be discussed. Which one do you prefer? To have a test at different time, or you want to have a test during the tutorial slot next week? Which one? Yaman, Susan, you let me know later, okay? Because we have to finish the lecture. The lecture, we are on track, but the tutorial, by right, you know, if you look at other lecturer style, so whenever they have tests, they do not count that week for one tutorial. Right or not? So they jump from week 6 and then have tests in week 7, week 8, they will continue with tutorial, the next tutorial. So basically, overall, the tutorial they have is only 12, but I'm giving you 14 tutorial, including tests. Other lecturers are giving you 12 tutorial if they have 2 tests, if you notice. Okay, you let me know, Suzy, you let me know whether you want to have a separate time or you want to have the tutorial slot. If you have the tutorial slot next week, that means we try to cover as many as we can, subject to your preparation. If you prepare the answer, then we can go very quickly. But if it takes time to answer, then we cannot finish another 4 tutorial. We may be able to finish only the other 2 tutorial. So you have to choose which tutorial you are going to discuss in week 14.
So, Doctor, meaning that if we choose to have a test during the tutorial session, then we will not have another replacement for tutorial.
Yes. Because usually you have only 12 tutorial, not 14. You don't believe me, you check other lecturer pro forma.